Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with yet another new recording of the Berg Violin Concerto. This is the one on Ondine with Christian Tetzlaff, who's always looking terribly serious these days, and the Deutsches Symphonie-Orchester Berlin with Robin Ticciati conducting, and you also get the Brahms Concerto. So you've got a big, juicy German violin concerto coupling. And this is a very, very good disc. Now, I recently just did a video of the Berg Violin Concerto with James Ennis and Andrew Davis, which I found rather soft-edged and somewhat, Ennis is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful violinist, but the accompaniment and the whole performance was a little on the diffuse side, shall we say, with a very slow second movement. This is much, much better. Oh, this is better, enormously better. It's gorgeously played. It's very transparent. It's full of punch where it needs to. In the second movement, those big hair-raising climaxes, that represent catastrophe. And, the death of Manon Gropius, which is what the piece is basically about. It's a memorial to her and that tragic first half of the second movement before that enormously moving adagio comes in. It's not only powerfully done powerfully played by Tetzlaff and by the orchestra and Ticciati, but it has incredible motivic coherence. What can I tell you? I mean, for example, the big climax is this rhythm: yum ba dum bum, yum ba dum ba, crash like that. That's what it does. But that particular motive permeates the movement, or at least the first half of the movement. You hear it initially on the solo violin. It's very similar to the faltering heartbeat motive that begins Mahler's Ninth Symphony. Dum bum bum bum, dum bum. Bum, bum. It's very, very similar. Berg was fascinated by that movement, and he was fascinated by that kind of motivic work. And I have never heard it brought out quite so clearly as here, without compromising the emotional intensity of the music. So it's a marvelous performance of the Berg, and I just enjoyed it tremendously, and so will you. The Brahms is another matter. This is an interesting Brahms. Actually, I admire it because it's not the same old, same old. It really isn't. It's a performance of great classical austerity, I would say. And you can see that in the timings. The whole work, they get through the whole work in 36 minutes. And the first movement is only 20 minutes and 38 seconds. I mean, there are performances that run that movement to nearly half an hour. And 25 minutes is not at all unusual. So it's a very flowing performance. And the slow movement and finale are quite zippy, actually. The slow movement is very, very beautiful. But the finale, to me, sounds actually a little bit too fast, believe it or not. I usually like quickie movements, but you need time for those double stops in the main theme to really bite. It's yum da 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 yum da 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 yum bum bum. Now you do not have to do, and they don't do, da 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 yum bum 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 da 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 da, which can be kind of irritating, depending on whether the soloist does it or the orchestra does it, or they do it every time, or it can get really kind of mannered sounding. But by the same token, you just want to hear him dig a little harder. And that's what I mean by it's a very classical performance, a somewhat austere performance. It doesn't have, it doesn't scale the heights of romantic passion. You do get a sense, this was written for Joseph Joachim, Brahms' sometimes friend. I mean, they had a falling out, but the bottom line is it was written for Joachim, who was, he revived the Beethoven Violin Concerto. He was known for being a very, very classical style performer, minimal vibrato, all that stuff. You can have to go into that. And I get a sense that this might have been much, much closer to the way Joachim may have played the work than all of the subsequent more hot and heavy romantic people. But I like those hot and heavy romantic people. I mean, I love Oistrakh and Grumio and Heifetz, Milstein. They're great. They're just great. And so this is a little bit on the light side, but it's still very, very good. So I enjoyed this, and I think you will too. And the Berg is wonderful, and Ondine's recording, the sound is terrific. So go for it. Give it a shot. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Keep on listening, friends. Take care.